And welcome to episode 84 of the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'm one of your two hosts for today, Sean, not editor-in-chief. And I'm joined by Todd Hazelton, not deputy managing editor.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we'll get to all that in just a moment. But yes, we are back after a week off since I was out in Irvine. And while I was out in Irvine, some things happened, some changes happened. So we'll just get this out of the way. We did do some title changes around TechnoBuffalo. And Todd, you're going to shoot me. I cannot remember your exact new title right now.
Executive editor.
Executive editor. Okay. So what happened was that over the past several years, as I've been doing editor-in-chief, but slowly I've also morphed into working a little bit with the ad companies, working with the developers, working with our servers and all that sort of stuff. And it got to a point, and I want to say this very carefully, it got to a point where the EIC duties were one of the least important things I did. And that is not to say that an editor-in-chief is not important. I just was responsible for so much else that the company did. So conversations started to happen last year that I was going to transition from editor-in-chief and get a promotion essentially to a new position. So I'm now called director of operations, which is kind of this ambiguous title we came up with so I can do anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sean, if you're not aware, does everything on the site.
Pretty much.
Which is why, yeah.
So once I left that role, though, however, Roy would step up to editor-in-chief, Roy Choi. But due to him living on the Pacific coast, that made it a little difficult for him to run in the mornings. So we came up with this 3-person system that Roy is editor-in-chief, and then Todd is executive editor, and Joey is managing editor. And so I'm still around. I'm just not as involved with the editorial side of things. So I gotta tell you, Todd, it's been really weird. I have the Twitter feed go by. I'm like, oh, that looks like an interesting story. And I have not read it yet.
And the other thing is, too, it's sort of, I guess, to explain, Joey and I are basically the same thing. We just have different titles for the sake of having different titles.
Exactly. So everyone is still here. It's just been some title changes, and I will still be doing the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'll still be writing some posts for the site. I'm just far, far more involved with the business side of things, taking all the meetings with potential partners and advertisers and all that sort of stuff. And the other 3 guys are doing all the editorial stuff now. So you'll hear a different title from now on, but it's still just Sean. Nothing's changed other than, I've got a different title and I'll have to get new business cards. But
yeah, my business cards still say senior editor, I think, which is from 4 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
I like always hand them out. I'm like, here you go.
It's so bizarre, though. I mentioned this to John while I was out there that, as much as technology is advanced and people keep trying to come up with business card replacement systems, everyone still just does business cards.
Yeah.
It's just so much easier.
It really is. Or it's like, the other thing I do is like, if I don't have one on me or somebody doesn't have theirs on them, I give them my card and then I'm like, just email me and then I have your info, so it's just sort of like, hey, nice to meet you. And then it's just like in your system. Cause like, that's the thing I like is like, as long as it's in Gmail, I don't know. I wish NFC was so cheap, and maybe it is. I don't know, but it's not. But like where you could just sort of like tap your phone on a business card or something. And I know you could tap phones together, but wouldn't that be a neat Android feature? Or Gmail.
Well, I know some people have tried it, but yeah, Gmail should do it.
Yeah, because then it would just be like send your, your signature file over or something.
Exactly. So, not anything shocking about our title changes. Just a shifting of duties and what we do around here, but it's still the same TechnoBuffalo, just people wearing different hats.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know people were like, wait, why do you have a different title? Well, it's just I got other things to do now. So the big topic we wanted to tackle this week, and if anyone has any questions about all that stuff, please feel free to ask them in the Q&A section. But the big thing we wanted to tackle this week was you just wrote an editorial about Apple is boring.
I said they're getting boring. Yeah.
Yeah.
People hate me for
Yeah. Which I did not read that post till this morning, which again, very
People
odd
hate
for
me
me.
for my Tesla post too.
Todd, people just hate you. I mean, it's just, and knowing you as long as I have, I can see why.
Yeah. When I look in the mirror, I'm like, that's why.
God, it's that Hazelton guy. He's everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
The article, it was one I'd been meaning to write for a while because look, I don't think Apple's boring. I just think the products it's been making are kind of boring. I think, for a while, people like even not Apple fanboys, right? Like just regular people were like, oh, what's Apple doing? Like, what's this announcement? There was a time, right? Because of 2007, when they announced the iPhone, everyone was like, what the heck is that thing? And then, the iPad was the first tablet that kind of took off. Microsoft and others had been doing it for years, but they just weren't great, right? And the iPad, I don't know if I think it's great. I don't know. I think some versions of it were great, but it was the first really popular tablet. And so you had like these devices that were coming out really exciting. Apple Watch, maybe. I mean, they're selling a lot of them compared to competitors. So, but then, this year started to happen. It's like, all right, 6S, 6S Plus. Okay, I get that, right? Like it's always just that sort of TikTok. It's just another version, not a huge advancement. You get 3D touch, stuff like that. And so not very exciting. And then you get iPad Pro and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it's super expensive. It's not that great. Like the pencil it's just weird. It's, and by the time you add the keyboard and all that, you're paying like well above $1,000. So like, why not just get a laptop? In my opinion, why not just get a laptop? Whether it's a MacBook or a Windows computer or whatever, why not get a laptop? Okay. And then they have introduced the iPad Pro again, this time with a 9.7-inch screen. I'm just like, all right, we already know the story. Smaller version of that. Again, once you configure it, why not just buy a laptop, in my opinion? All right, but the iPad's great still, so you get the tablet. And then it's like iPhone SE, which is the 5S or the 5 all over again with new components. And I just feel like I'm like, and I said in my post, like my litmus test is I go to the site sort of, and I'm like, do I want this? Like, am I going to buy it? Am I going to buy it and return it? I don't know. Like, do I have any urge? And for me, I was just kind of interested, but just by the prices and realizing what I get, like I already have this 6S Plus. I don't know. I was like, this is boring. I don't care. Whereas, we'll get to some other questions here that I see. Whereas you're getting like, okay, Amazon Echo, the Echo Dot, like those things are really cool, right? They're just totally new products, totally new things that didn't exist before. Sure, you have Siri, sure you have Google Now, but like these products, this paper towel size thing that sits in your house, it reads you the news, it plays music, that turns on your lights, stuff like that's cool. That's interesting. And then I'm also looking at, for example, Samsung's Tab Pro S that I'm reviewing now. Like, okay, it's another Windows laptop tablet hybrid, but is it really? Like, I actually think it's a really cool Windows 10 laptop that comes with a keyboard. All right, that's like a key distinguisher, even from the Surface, for $899. And it works really well. Like I said, I'm still reviewing it, but it's pretty awesome. And so I just feel like there's these companies doing slightly more exciting things than Apple. And that's all. And I'm wondering, like, where's Apple's, where's their new iPhone? Where's their new iPad? And I don't mean new as in the next generation. I mean, where's that new product that it hasn't been doing?
I will say this for the Pro. I really hadn't had a chance before this last trip out to Irvine to play with one.
Mm-hmm.
And both Ralph and Roy were using the larger version, which I still think is a little too large. And it's also heavy as heck.
Is it?
Oh, good.
I've only used it like in the store where I went to play with it.
But anyone that knows me, and if you ever see me around, ask to see my notebook. I always have a steno book with me at all times, everywhere I go. And this is how I keep all the notes of everything I'm working on. And seeing Ralph use the pencil and take notes in a meeting we were both in, I was like, wait, you mean I wouldn't have to have a little notebook with me at all times?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
It's cool. But considering what I would have to spend, I'm never going to do a 32 gigabyte tablet again, at least as my main tablet. So the fact that immediately, the new 9.7 inch jumps $150 up to the next size is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially considering the 32 gigabyte is already starting $100 more expensive than the Air 2.
Right.
That's the whole problem. These Pros are cool, but they're overpriced and they don't have enough new features over the Airs. It's just, it's too much. I agree with you completely. As for the iPhone, yes, I understand. You know, you can sit around and make the argument all day long that Apple hit a home run, you know, from day one with the iPhone. You know, every phone that's come since has basically been a copy of the iPhone in some way, shape, or form. They started the black slabs. It's time to change. It is so monotonous now. I look at every phone, I'm just like, oh great, and yet another one.
Yeah. Actually, Joanna Stern at the Wall Street Journal wrote an article yesterday. It was pretty good about just how boring phones kind of have become. And you can argue that either way. I tend to agree, and I think LG tends to agree. I mean, LG said that with the G5. That's why they're trying different things. Like, okay, the screens are good enough, cameras are good enough. We've talked about that on the podcast too, so I don't want to dive back too much into it. But like, you know, the S7 Edge I like because it just looks awesome, performs really well, and here it is. That's the one I bought. But it is very much just like, you know, it's like another one. Like, okay,
Yeah,
if I had the S6 Edge Plus, like, we wouldn't have bought this. It's just kind of yeah. Like, what's the new thing? And we've talked about it before too. Like, I think it's you know, breaking away into ecosystems that the phones use. Whether it's like I don't know, but whether it's VR and stuff like that, 360 cameras seem to be a big thing this year. Though the pricing, I just saw today, like the leaked price that's on the site for the 360 geared 360 Samsung's 360 camera, it's like $350 or something. Crazy. Not paying that. But yeah, I think it's going to become more of like, what do these phones do with other things, and what are these other things you can buy that work with your phone? You know, I start to wonder, like, and it makes sense. You know, can Apple release sort of like this standalone Siri thing that's like an Echo that also knows your phone, that's got everything in it, you know? Or can Google do something similar with Google Now? I don't know. The Echo just seems to be such a compelling product to me, and I just bought the Dot too, and I know you did. So it's nice to have the one here in the living room, control the lights, and then I go to my bedroom, control the lights, and nobody else is doing that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I did have to chuckle though while I was reading your article about, you know, Amazon's doing all this innovation, and all that kept running through my head was Fire Phone.
Yeah, I mean, but look, okay, Fire Phone was a dud, but look at the other products, like the Fire tablet, the $50 tablet I bought. I still really liked it. That's pretty cool. Nobody else has a $50 tablet.
The $50 tablet is amazing.
Yeah, I still use that. And then, you know, my Kindle Paperwhite, like, it seems like nobody else wants it. There's Kobo and stuff like that, but like nobody else is doing it as well, I don't think, as Amazon has been.
No, they're not.
And I love my Paperwhite. I use it every night. And now there's a new one apparently coming out next week. And I'm not saying that's innovation either. Like, who cares? It's another e-reader. But my point was, I just haven't been like wowed. And I think I was kind of wowed, to be honest, about the MacBook last year. And then I actually saw it in the performance. I was like, yeah. So maybe they'll have a new MacBook that wows me.
Yeah, Apple's got to do something. I'm the same with you, Todd. I mean, it really spoke to me when you said in your article about how you used to look forward to every Apple event. And now I'm just like, oh, all right, here's what we need to do. Here's the coverage we're doing. And it's purely based on the fact that we know everything we're going to see. We know that
too.
Well, no, it's I'm not even speaking to the leaks though. It's just okay, it's time for a new iPhone. This is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to do. You know, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, there was a time where it was just sort of like I don't know. Like, I can't even explain it now, because it's like you're looking back 2020 and I'm like, oh, we were excited about an iPad, but there was a time when we were excited about the iPads. You know, maybe they were adding LTE, or maybe they finally added the front-facing FaceTime camera, and like that stuff was generally compelling because not every single tablet and phone on the market had those features. You know, so you start thinking, like, during this press conference, like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? Like, I can stay in touch with my grandma. Like, not that I, you know, but like, that would be cool, like a video call with somebody. Wow, this is the future. And now it has become so standard and everybody does it. And it's just like, oh, that's not very exciting. So like, what is it? And I'm not blaming Apple necessarily. I'm not saying Apple's the one to blame. I'm just saying it's sort of an industry wide, I guess, aside from I named, Samsung and I named Amazon is doing some really cool things right now, but who knows?
Yeah.
Like, you have to like, Apple's doing something, right? Like they're probably almost certainly building something with VR, and that could be their way. And imagine if they come out with like a $200 VR headset that's way cooler than what everybody else has, and at that price point, and it doesn't require crazy hardware because, say the A9X processor is able to handle all this. Like that could be, Apple's new thing. It made the smartphone huge. Maybe it'll make VR huge everywhere. Right now, it seems like that's what Gear VR is doing better.
Yeah, I'm sure they're working on something VR, but for me personally, even that's going to make me just go, oh, great, something else I'm not buying.
Yeah, until there's something really, really cool. I mean, VR for me right now is just too expensive. My wife would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, and also, and look at your apartment. How are you going to...
Yeah, right? Like, where am I going to put it? This is the space you need for Vive.
Yeah.
It's probably too small for it. 10 by 10? I don't know.
I told you recently, get a second apartment just for your VR.
Yeah. I'll get, on a different floor in the building.
Yeah. And just never tell your wife about it.
Yeah.
I don't know where he goes at night, Mom.
I think he's got another girlfriend. Just like...
He disappears for hours on end, and you're just upstairs playing a game on VR. I totally could see that happening. Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of questions coming in, and a lot of them are related to what's going on with technology and innovation. We've got one here from Mr. Sean. Do you think Amazon will do a smartwatch fitness band? How cool would it be to have Alexa on your wrist? I totally think that's going to happen.
It would be cool. They haven't had they haven't shown any interest, I don't think, in like fitness or fitness software or anything like that. But they've got the cloud to do it, and it would make sense, especially if you could order. But they seem so much involved in my headphones, in consumer, like selling stuff, right? Like online retail, and making sure you're quicker to get their products, right? So like the Kindle, easier to buy books, like Echo buy stuff, whatever they sell, Kindle, the Fires, get their movies, buy stuff again. And so like they haven't shown like a focus on fitness. So like, why would they do that unless it's also like an Alexa on your wrist so you can buy stuff, which makes sense. I don't know. But like why not just use all the other smartphone or the smartwatch apps, like Amazon's app on the Apple Watch? It would have to be all about Alexa, and she's great. So.
I want to take
cool if they had I don't know, an Amazon launcher that wasn't too filled with stuff.
That would be cool. I want to take Alexa with me everywhere.
Yeah.
I love Alexa.
Yeah, it's like the best assistant.
Exactly. Okay, so we have this coming in from multiple people, but I want to say a different name this time around. But Mr. Sean, you also asked this essentially. JK asks, been away for the past few weeks. Selling anything since I've been away, Todd? I assume he means returning.
Yeah, I am.
Well, I may have talked you out of that, though.
You may have talked me out. It's not a gadget, though. I had Amazon gift cards, and for a very long time, I've wanted a pair of cowboy boots. So I bought a pair of cowboy boots, and I like them. My wife thinks they're really stupid. And by the way, I know you guys are going to hate me for this. I really like country music. I go to country concerts and stuff like that. So I wanted cowboy boots. I bought them. Yeah, I know. Everybody hates country music, except for me. So anyway, my wife thinks they're stupid, and I was like, when the heck am I going to wear these things? Maybe it was a waste of money. I could buy something else. So I printed out the label to return them, and then we were talking before the show about what I returned, and Sean said that he had cowboy boots for years, and he liked wearing them and got used to wearing them. That was another thing. They kind of feel like heels. You're like, it's another inch. Kind of hard to balance. I mean, it's not hard to balance, but they feel weird. So maybe I'll keep them, wear them a little bit longer, and see. I don't know.
Give into the boots, Todd. Give into the boots.
It's just that, cowboy boots aren't cheap because they're they're leather. So I was thinking I could buy other things, but who knows?
From Session Bahal, did you guys buy The Force Awakens? If so, did you go digital only or Blu-ray combo pack? I went with The Force Awakens Best Buy Steelbook Blu-ray combo. It's really nice, but also limited. I went with digital because with Disney Movies Anywhere, I love the fact that I can have it on my Vudu account, my Amazon account, my iTunes account. It spreads across all of them, so why bother buying the physical copy? Although, of course, also being the collector I am, I was tempted. But Todd, I know that you bought it and still have yet to watch it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I bought it through Google Play. I think I've said before that's been my platform of choice for movies and stuff. So on Android or whatever, and I haven't watched it yet. Well, the thing is, over the weekend I was like, "Hey," and I told my wife, "Yeah, I bought new Star Wars. Will you watch it?" And she's like, "Yeah." So I was gonna watch it on. She had a wedding shower or something on Sunday. I was gonna watch it then. I didn't end up doing it. So.
Blasted wives always throwing monkey wrenches into the plans.
Yeah, and it's funny too. You'd think like we work from home. I just put like a phone on a kickstand here and watch it at my desk or something while I'm working. I don't do that either. So
yeah, no, I've been known to do that. I mean, I've got television over here to my left that sometimes I'll kick on, or if or I'll prop my iPad up somewhere on my desk. Which I will say that's one nice thing about no longer being editor in chief. I actually have sometimes like a 10-minute window during the day between meetings where I'm like,
I don't have to watch Twitter.
I can get up and walk around my office. I can get a cup of coffee without somebody pinging me.
I know.
This is amazing. I'm still working the same number of hours, but I seem to have every so often now I actually am able to go, take a breath.
Right.
From Mr. Sean, I don't see VR taking off until Apple does VR. Getting normal consumers like my parents and cousins to buy it make many comes lack. Sorry. But Apple has that power though, the brand and marketing. I totally agree. I think a lot of people say, Apple's late to the game on this technology or that technology. It doesn't matter, because Apple's able to convince people that they need it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's funny. Look, we've all talked about Gear VR, and everybody knows Gear VR, and I like Gear VR, and I got it free with the the Galaxy S7 Edge I bought. It was like one of those promotions if you pre-ordered. And like LG has theirs now, and cardboard and stuff like that. But like it doesn't, like you go to my mom, right, and say like, "Hey, have you tried Google Cardboard?" She's be like, "I have no idea what you're talking about," or Gear VR. The second like Apple says like, "We're gonna make this $100 headset that plugs into your iPhone and you wear it," and it might be the exact same thing as cardboard or Gear VR, and like then my mom will know. About VR, and like that's the power of Apple for whatever reason, right? And it's not so much like the press, right? Like because we talk about this stuff all the time. It's like I feel like people just don't think about it. It reminds me, I've said it before on the show. I think I wrote an editorial about it, like that old saying: "When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen." It's like when Apple talk, like people just start to listen about it, and then it sort of helps boost the whole industry. Sometimes, like Apple does it, and then everybody's like, "Oh, I need VR. I need a smartwatch. I need a tablet. I need a smartphone."
Yep.
So, and I'm not saying that, look, because I think HTC just did a really good job actually too with the Vive. Like people are really talking about VR, and I think Oculus too, but they're like, whoa, you got to try this. But I still feel like it hasn't reached my mom's understanding level yet. And until something reaches that with virtual reality, then it's sort of like, has it gone super mainstream? I don't think so.
I totally agree. From JK, LG has stirred up the pot, but I agree. I think it's why I'm going to grab the Urbane 2 LTE. I'm sort of over phones at the moment. Even Nexus devices are boring to me. ATM at the moment. Yeah, I think that's the whole thing. I mean, now that I'm not involved in the day-to-day editorial side of things, I do find that I love everything that we publish on TechnoBuffalo, but the phone stories are about the last thing that I look at.
Yeah.
and that's just me personally. That's not a commentary on the quality of writing by any stretch of the imagination. No one.
No, but
take
it's an
that out of
industry-wide
context.
thing that even sitting in with smartphone manufacturers and other journalists, like it's not just the readers, it's not just us, it's not just the phone makers. Like everybody is saying it's basically like how many times can you have a 32 gigabyte phone with a 5-inch display, 1080p quad HD, who cares, with, what else? Like, it's the same thing with different branding. And yeah, the software switches up slightly here and there, and the battery life's better or worse. And but we have hit a point where after multiple years of that happening, people are just like, who cares? Right? Like, what else does it do? And that's why I think virtual reality is coming into play. And that's why I think LG is trying different things with their friends. I don't think successfully, but trying different things. And I think that's what's going to, like we were saying, propel the industry further. Like, what else are these phones going to do? And it has to be outside of the phone now, until they're bending or I don't know, doing crazy, like until they can fly and turn into drones or something. Like, what else is going to be make it really cool? Like, it's not going to be a 4K display. I can tell you that, because like, what the heck? I'm not going to, why would you buy that? Like, I just don't know what else there is.
No, and I agree with JK. The LG has stirred the pot somewhat with the friend system, although I agree it's not perfectly executed. But I got to play briefly with the G5 Avzone Irvine, and yeah, it was cool. I love being able to eject the battery out and swap other things onto it. That's a great idea. Is it enough though? That's the question. And I'm not sure it is enough yet. I guess we'll see. Speaking of, I just want to see people throw tomatoes at Todd. From Mr. Sean, thoughts on the Model 3 and the 325,000 pre-orders. Todd, have you said anything about the number of pre-orders?
I have. I wrote it at a teaser.
How'd that go?
Well, readers didn't agree with me. But here's my point. Look, I'm not wrong. You can't you can't buy something for 1/42nd of the price and call that a pre-order, or start counting those as full-on orders. Like, look, Tesla's been saying, like, hey, at the average selling price of $42,000, we've made probably, $10 billion in car sales. No. Here's the thing. People have made $1,000 to earmark a car for them, all right? And now there's 325,000 orders. Now, let's put this into perspective. In the very last quarter, they just announced their earnings earlier this week. Tesla shipped 14,000 cars. So do the math on that. It's going to take over 4 years for them right now to make 325,000 cars and get them out the door. So those cars aren't sold, and because it's going to take so long, and look, I know they have their giga whatever plants, and they're going to try to get these things out the door quicker, but it's not open yet. And given the time it's going to take, 325,000 cars to make, people are going to start saying, "Oh, that's $1,000. I'm going to pull it out." Like, I think a lot of people are like, "This is a really cool car. I'm going to put $1,000 down, and maybe I'll buy it, but maybe I won't. And I'll pull it back." Like, there's a lot of people who are going to be like, "I don't want that car anymore." There's a lot of manufacturers in the 4 years between now and when you're actually going to get the car that are going to, like, imagine where the car industry is going to be in 4 years from now. I'm just saying, I don't think all those people are actually committing to buying these cars. And so you can't count that as a figure, billion-dollar figure, $10 billion figure, that Tesla is having that money coming in. It also has not proven in any means that it's going to be able to support all these cars. So, like, how are you going to get them fixed? Where are you going to take them? There's nothing to that regard. So I don't think this is, it's to me very much a pipe dream. These are not car sales. They're not pre-orders. It's $1,000 earmarks. It's a pre-order if people are actually committing to the car. There's no commitment required. So that doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I think this is all ridiculous. And I know there's a lot of people that agree, but Tesla's a good company at marketing. And look, they made a really awesome looking car. I have nothing against the Model 3, nothing at all.
No, you're 100% right, Todd.
But I also think there's like this miscommunication among consumers, like, holy cow, I'm going to get a Tesla. This is awesome. And it's only going to cost me $25,000 because it's, it's a $35,000 car, whatever. I'm going to get these tax rebates. But nobody was looking into that. There's only 200,000 of these tax rebates out there, and it's like $7,500. And once those 200,000 are gone, You're not getting them. So already out of these, and keep in mind, this is all cars that are already sold. So out of these 325,000 pre-orders, if you're just even considering those, 125,000 of those people, and this isn't even considering everything that's already been sold, won't get that rebate. So it's not a $25,000 Tesla, as people have, tried to say. It's still that $32,000, $35,000 Tesla. I forget the MSRP. And plus, once you configure it, Tesla thinks the average selling price is going to be 42 grand. So you're not getting a rebate. So it's like still an expensive car. And you know what? I think a lot of people took offense also in my article to me calling it the poor man's Tesla. But what I meant by that is that it has been marketed as this, in a lot of ways by the press, I think, as this $25,000 car, the cheap Tesla. It is not a cheap Tesla. I think people misunderstood what I was saying there. It's like when people call the Boxster the poor man's Porsche. It's still a great car, or I don't know, could be. Seems like a nice car.
We'll see, but no, I agree with you 100%. Those are not car sales.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how you try to slice it; those are not car sales. From Sachin Bahal, what do you guys think of the newly announced Roku streaming stick? Roku claims it's as powerful as the Roku 4. I don't know what it is. I have a bias against sticks. I don't know why. I do. I'm just like, I'd rather just have the set-top box. I have no idea why. It may be as powerful.
It's kind of a weird form factor.
It is. I don't know. It's just not a form factor that does much for me.
I'm interested in it, but I still have I guess it's the Roku 2 or something. I don't know. It's an old one, and it works just as well. Or I mean, to me, it's like it's good enough. So I'm just not replacing it.
From Mr. Sean. Sean, how was Disneyland? What was your favorite ride? Disneyland, as always, was awesome. As for my favorite ride, I thought everyone in the world knew this, as I talk about it endlessly. The Haunted Mansion is my favorite ride, which, Todd, you didn't hear about this. So they're coming out with this. For 3 months, I will receive a box in the mail of Haunted Mansion goods.
I heard about it. I didn't know you signed up for it. That's awesome.
Oh, I signed up for it, and only 999 people were able to sign up for it, and it sold out in hours.
Wow.
But there's something they didn't tell us about. So when we get these boxes, we will be allowed to download a app to our iPhones called Ghost Radio. Now, when we go to the park, the app will activate, and we will be able to go on a special, only for those of us who have the boxes, treasure hunt.
Whoa.
Where we get to help ghosts return to the mansion.
That's awesome.
So I have to go around the park and do certain things, and the app will know I've done it and will release the ghosts back to the mansion.
That's really cool.
I'm like, I am so coming back as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. From Sachin Bahal, did any of you order the Amazon Dot or Amazon Tap? If so, which one did you get and how is it? Todd and I both got the Dot. I love it.
I didn't know, pardon my ignorance here because it sounds stupid. I did not know it had a built-in speaker until it got here.
Wait, it does?
Yeah.
I thought you had to plug a speaker into it.
No. That's why I was like, yeah, it does. So you didn't know either. I was like, wait a minute. So I set it up and it, it started talking. And I was like, what the heck? So I never plugged it into my other Bluetooth speaker. I was going to use it like we talked about with a better Bluetooth speaker. It's got its own. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I'm using the Samsung speaker you and I both got at that party a couple years ago.
You don't even need that.
I'm unplugging that tonight. If that's... Well, I was going to say, if that's right, I totally believe you. That makes this a way cooler product.
Yeah, it's just like this little puck, and it's got a really decent speaker. I keep it next to my bed, and it plays music, and she's loud. It gets too loud, so I don't have her all the way up, but it's impressive.
I'll have to play with that tonight, because that's a game changer really on that product, because my whole concern with the Dot was I thought you did have to plug in a speaker. I was like, well, okay, yes, the Echo itself is cheaper, but then you have to have the speaker, which if you don't have one laying around, that drives the cost up. I don't know how I totally missed it has a speaker built in.
Yeah, I missed it too. My buddy told me, and then I noticed when I plugged it in, it was made the noise. I was like, wait a minute.
Well, now, Michael Vassal is saying here that Amazon Dot isn't meant to be used as a speaker. They claim it's garbage.
It's not garbage. It's actually really good. I mean, it's not like full of bass or anything. It doesn't have room for that. Get the other echo for it, but it is not garbage. It's like if you're listening to the news or just like I play classical music in my room when I'm reading at night. It's great. It's totally fun, and it gets really loud.
Cool. Well, I'll try it tonight. I mean, the Bluetooth speaker I'm using is great, so I may just continue to use it. But if the speaker built in is decent enough for basic functions,
oh yeah, it is.
That's a bit of a game changer there. JK has a lot here about the comments situation on the site. As I say always, we're working on it.
But I noticed it too, because shoot one of us an email and I think explain the story a little more, because I know that some people are cloning, but sometimes I know your name is clone JK, so I can't tell.
Yeah, to reach
it's Todd at TechnoBuffalo.
Yeah,
we'll get to the right place.
Yeah, just like Roy at Todd at, because JK, I know you've emailed Todd or Roy in the past, so just Todd at.
Let me know too, and I'll try to look through it.
Yeah, we'll try to work on that. As for making a comment about me needing a maid, thanks a lot, JK. Anyway, let's see here. What else have we got? Real quick from Sachin Bahal here. Can you talk about all the people who have been come and gone from TechnoBuffalo, i.e. Mark Bernsteiner, Jonathan Morrison, Mark Lynn Sagan? It seems they were only there for a few months, if that. Guy, I think the reason it seems more noticeable to everyone is because these people are on video.
Yeah.
But this is a very common situation. They get to a position, and while you're out job hunting, you're typically talking to a couple other companies at the same time. So they'll get here, and then someone else they were talking to comes along with an offer slightly better than ours, or it's more where they want to live, or anything like that. It's all very, very amicable, and we do see all the conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
That float around. And the one thing we do want to point out is, yes, some people have been here for short times, but it's never been anything, horrible that's caused them to go, move on or whatever. But, then you've got people like, I've been here for over 6 years. Todd's been here for going on 5. Joey's been here for 5. Roy's going on 4.
Brandon 5, Jacob 4. Most of us have been here for a really long time.
Most of us have been here for
Hey,
the problem we run into on video, and it's not even really a problem. Finding talented people on camera is tough, and when you do find them, they're in demand.
Yeah,
and so it's not a matter of these people storm off in anger or anything like that. It's just simply they're good at their jobs. Writers, there's a lot more writers than there are video hosts. And did you see the thing today about Bloomberg talking about replacing writers with machine writing?
No, but there you go.
Yeah, well, we all know that day's coming.
The fact of the matter is most of TechnoBuffalo's staff have been here for a very long time. It's just, like you were saying.
Yeah, it's just a matter of people move around. So I'm sorry to deflate all those conspiracy theories.
Yeah, there are a lot though. I feel like sometimes when I go on YouTube, like just to watch a video, and then there's like comments like, "What happened to so and so? I heard such and such happened," and I wish it was as exciting as it sounds.
I know everyone seems to think we lead really exciting lives.
Yeah, it is literally somebody else either has found a different job somewhere else, just like happens in every other single industry.
Here, I'll give you guys. I'm going to let you all in on the most exciting thing that happened at the TechnoBuffalo offices last week. I don't go spreading this around, okay? John, admittedly, has made the worst purchase in TechnoBuffalo company history.
Oh yeah,
he bought a candy machine that's coin operated. And mind you, we're not making money off of anyone. The back of the machine is open. The same $1.50 rotates through the machine constantly. So we're not charging our employees for candy. The number of times we all went to that machine per day was depressing. And all we can figure is you enjoy the sound of hearing that quarter drop, my theory was, like psychologically, your parents always said no to you in the grocery store. But we all went to that machine a sickening amount of times. And what I loved was every time John went over to it, he was like, "This is the worst purchase I've ever made. Why did I buy this?"
You free candy, man.
So that's about as exciting as things get around here for drama. For Mr. Sean, Todd, are you excited for the Masters this weekend? Will you be watching? I believe in the past you said you golfed.
I am a terrible golfer, but I will be watching the Masters.
I will not.
It's actually been really cold here. I went out a couple times already this year. Just played 9 holes, but it's been too cold to play anything more soon.
Michael Vasal asks a question that involves words. Can't say I expected Microsoft announcing that they're adding full-on Linux bash to Windows 10. Your thoughts, guys? Is MS heading into the right direction? I have no idea what Linux bash is.
Linux?
Linux. That's tomato, but as for what bash is, I have no clue.
Yeah,
it's awesome that they're doing it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Linux guy. I used to a long time ago I ran Red Hat when I was like 18 years old. And then more recently I tried a couple other versions and I just didn't stick with it. Like, I was back with Ubuntu again and I just didn't stick with it. I should give it another whirl. But I'm not sure about how I feel about it in Windows 10. I like Windows 10.
Mr. Sean says, just turn the candy machine into a health snack machine. Yeah, that's going to happen.
Like little granola pieces in there.
But that would be an insult to every candy machine that has ever existed.
Yeah,
that's not happening.
Read that one from Mr. Sean real quick.
The top one.
No. The one about reactions. You tell them where you work and what you do, because that one's kind of funny.
Oh! I didn't even see that one. From Mr. Sean, I can't remember if this has ever been asked or answered, but do you ever get odd reactions from people when you tell them where you work and what you do? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, so I'm in the process of buying a house. My wife and I were hopefully closing at the end of the month, and the number of times, like talking to banks and stuff like, look, you have to send them your pay stubs and like your credit score, all that stuff anyway. But the number of times I've heard like talking to realtors and when I'm buying a house, like, oh, you make money doing that? Like, oh, it pays the bills. What the heck? No, I'm freaking homeless. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, think about. I went from running a comic book store, which people would go, "Is that a real job?"
Yeah, right. Like,
to being a professional blogger, to also hearing, "Is that a real job?"
So, yeah, I get it all the time. Like when I meet people, they're just like, it's so funny too, because I left the magazine business. I worked for a print magazine and it did not pay very well. I left that to go to blogging because blogging pays a lot better. And so like when I tell people, sometimes they'll just say like, like I'm a writer, and then they're like, oh, you write books, and I'm like, oh man, here goes. I'm a blogger. And they're like, you make money doing that? Like, come on. If I said I worked at a magazine, nobody would ask you that, but you make better money not working at a magazine.
Yeah, I did write for magazines in the mid-90s, and whenever I would tell people, it was depending on the situation I was in, what job I would tell them I had. But I'd say I was a magazine writer, and oh, that's cool. I become a professional, online writer, which is what I tend to use now as opposed to blogger. And they're like, wait, online writers get paid? Yes, we get paid.
No, I sit under a bridge with a quill and a pad, and I scribble on old newspapers and leave it and hope somebody picks it up and publishes it for free. Covered in mud. I don't make it.
Good Lord. Guys, I do see the questions about iOS 10, but unfortunately we're at the end of the show, and I have a meeting in 15 minutes. That's my life now, is meetings. So, as always, we do appreciate you joining us. You can find the TechnoBuffalo Show on the iTunes store, where we do appreciate if you rate and review us. That does help out the show. You can also find us on Pocket Casts. You can subscribe via RSS feed, or you can find us on the Stitcher app, which means you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Until next time, I'm Sean Ani. I'm the Director of Operations. That's going to take some getting used to.
Yeah.
For TechnoBuffalo, I've been joined by Executive Editor Todd Hazelton.
Bye, everybody.
Until next week, take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.